Persia, a land of kings, poets, and empires that bent history to their will. They built palaces that kissed the clouds, penned verses that echoed across time. But beneath the silk and stone lies a secret few dared to uncover. Because while Persia's banners changed, one thing didn't: the blood. Modern Iranians carry a genetic code older than Cyrus, older than Zoroaster, older than empire itself. We're talking barley-farming ancestors sowing seeds in the Zagros Mountains when Europe was still full of bears and berries. Welcome to Secrets Beyond Time. If you love a good mystery tangled in DNA and dust, go ahead, hit that subscribe. Because what we're about to reveal will turn everything you thought you knew about the Silk Road completely on its head. Long before Persia had kings or even a name, there was Ganj-Dareh, a quiet valley tucked deep in the Zagros Mountains. Today it looks like a pile of dusty ruins, but 10,000 years ago, it was a cradle of human civilization. Here, early Iranians were already farming barley, building mud brick homes, and herding goats before Europe even figured out how to plant a carrot. These weren't just early farmers, they were pioneers, the original DIY Neolithic community. When scientists sequenced DNA from a woman buried at Ganj-Dareh, codenamed GD13A, they found something staggering. Her genetic line wasn't related to the first European farmers from Anatolia. Nope, this was a separate branch, one that split from other humans up to 77,000 years ago. Let that sink in. While your average Bronze Age warrior was still figuring out how to ride a horse, these folks had already been farming for millennia. This Zagros signature survives in Iranians today, especially among the Zoroastrians. It's like finding a 10,000-year-old message still flowing through your veins. If you were taught that all farming began in the Fertile Crescent and spread west from Anatolia, think again. The Zagros Mountains weren't just tagging along. They were running their own agricultural startup. While Anatolian farmers were heading into Europe, shaping languages and gene pools, their cousins in Iran stayed put. But these weren't late adopters. Zagros farmers developed agriculture independently. Yes, you heard that right. A parallel Neolithic world sprouting in the Eastern Highlands while Europe was still fumbling with stone tools. Genetically, they were miles apart, too. Zagros DNA shows no connection to early European farmers. Instead, they formed their own unique cluster, one that would later echo through South Asia rather than the West. So, instead of one farming superhighway branching out from the Middle East, science now reveals two ancient streams of innovation: Anatolia shaping Europe, and the Zagros quietly building the roots of future Persia. It's like discovering there were two origin stories all along, and no one told you. Empires rose, languages shifted, religions swept the land, but Persia's DNA, it barely blinked. From the Chalcolithic to the Sassanid era, geneticists have pulled ancient genomes from graves scattered across Iran. The result? Shockingly little change. Despite wave after wave of conquests, the core genetic makeup of Iranians stayed rooted in that ancient Neolithic signature. Let's put that into perspective. While Europe's gene pool was flipped upside down by steppe invasions, Persia held firm. The mighty Bronze Age migrations that transformed half the continent barely left a scratch on the Iranian plateau. It's like Persia was in the middle of a genetic hurricane and just calmly sipped tea through it. What scientists see is continuity, Neolithic Zagros ancestry flowing through time like an underground river. Even when Persian kings ruled from golden palaces, their bloodlines whispered of goat herders and barley farmers from 8,000 years earlier. History may write in stone, but genetics, it writes in bone. Here's where things get weird, in the best way. Around 3,000 years ago, Indo-Iranian tribes rolled in from the steppes with horses, spears, and a brand new language. You'd expect a massive genetic shift, right? Wrong. They brought words, not blood. While Proto-Iranian language spread like wildfire, the DNA told a different story. Instead of a genetic takeover, researchers found the local population still deeply tied to their Neolithic roots. The Indo-Iranians may have brought gods and grammar, but the people mostly the same. How did that happen? Simple. A cultural remix. A small elite shows up, marries local women, and suddenly everyone's kids are speaking the new lingo, but with grandma's genes. Even the Islamic conquest, often assumed to be a full reset, only left a faint genetic ripple, less than 7% Arabian ancestry in modern Iranians. That's not a wave, that's a splash. So while Persia's languages and religions shifted like sand, its people stayed rooted like oak. If ancient DNA had a time machine, it would wear a white robe and tend a fire in Yazd. Meet the Zoroastrians, Persia's oldest religious community, and it turns out the ultimate genetic vault. When scientists sequenced their genomes, jaws hit the lab floor. Their DNA showed one of the strongest links to those original Zagros farmers ever recorded. How? Through centuries of endogamy, marrying within the community. What started as a religious custom accidentally preserved one of the most ancient bloodlines on Earth. And when persecution pushed some Zoroastrians to India centuries ago, they became the Parsis. Fast forward to today, and their DNA still rings with the same Neolithic notes. It's like the ancient Zagros whispered, "Go, but take us with you." So whether in a fire temple in Iran or a Mumbai neighborhood, these communities carry a genetic signature untouched by time, a living fossil in human form. No time machine required, just a cheek swab and some very dedicated ancestors. Persia's DNA didn't just sit still, it went global. From the bazaars of Isfahan to the shores of East Africa and even the hills of Tuscany, traces of ancient Persian ancestry pop up in the most unexpected places. How? Trade, migration, and a healthy dose of human curiosity. Along the Indian Ocean, Persian sailors left more than goods, they left genes. On the Swahili coast, DNA studies show Persian ancestry woven into African and Arab lineages. In South Asia, the Indus Valley's ancient DNA echoes with Iranian Neolithic influence. And in Tuscany? Yes, even some modern Italians carry whispers from the Zagros. But within Iran itself, another twist. Different ethnic groups, Persians, Kurds, Mazandaranis, even many Azeris, share a central genetic core. Despite speaking different languages, their DNA sings in harmony. Turns out, Persian identity isn't about one tongue or one religion. It's a layered, living mosaic. One strand for each people, but all woven from the same ancient thread. So why should we care about barley farmers and ancient DNA? Because this isn't just Persia's story, it's a mirror held up to humanity. While kingdoms rise and fall, while languages vanish and faiths evolve, there's something deeper holding us together. Bloodlines that quietly defy history. Persian DNA reminds us that identity isn't always what it looks like on the surface. It's older, messier, and more beautiful than any textbook ever dared to say. And maybe, just maybe, your ancestors didn't come from where you thought, but from a barley field under the Zagros sun. Empires may crumble and languages may fade, but Persia's DNA? It never stopped talking. From the highlands of Ganj Dareh to the streets of Tehran, the story of an ancient people still flows, quietly, powerfully, unchanged. So the next time you hear about the Silk Road, remember, beneath it lies something older than silk, older than road, blood that never forgot where it came from. Want more hidden history? Subscribe and dig deeper with us.